So what's the real difference between just pure random chance and something like destiny? Today, we're diving into a story that kicks off with an unbelievable stroke of luck, but ends in a tragedy so perfectly timed, it makes you wonder if coincidence is really the right word for it at all.
All right, picture this. 3 years ago, there's this 77-year-old guy in Canada, Lucian North, and he wins the lottery. And not just a little bit of money. We're talking the equivalent of 100 million RMB. You know, it's the kind of thing we all daydream about, a life-changing win. But here's the thing. That dream, it pretty much turned into a nightmare. Instead of bringing happiness and a nice, easy retirement, this huge pile of cash was actually the first domino to fall in a really devastating series of events. So, let's unpack how this incredible fortune just completely unraveled. This is a story that isn't really defined by the randomness of winning the lottery, but by what feels like the absolute inevitability of losing everything else. At the very heart of all this are three separate events. And if you look at them on their own, they just seem like horrible isolated accidents. Purely coincidental, right? Okay, so first up, a woman named Teresa tragically drowns. She just unexpectedly falls into a swimming pool. Taken by itself, it's just a shocking, awful accident.
The second event seems almost insignificant in comparison. The family's pet dog suddenly bolts out of the yard. You know, it's an everyday thing, happens all the time. Nothing to see here. Or so you'd think.
And then we have the third event. A man, Daniel, is hit by a speeding Jeep and is killed right there on the spot. So now we have three separate events, each one with a terrible outcome. But this is where you really have to pause and think. Is this just an unbelievable string of bad luck, or are these seemingly random events actually connected? Is there some kind of pattern here, an unseen force pulling the strings? And this brings us right to the big philosophical question of this whole story. Can there be a kind of inevitability hidden inside of what just looks like pure chance? This really gets to the heart of it. Are we looking at a series of isolated random events, coincidences, or are we actually seeing different parts of an overall trend, something that feels almost destined? It's all a matter of perspective. And it really is all about how you look at it. A drowning, a dog running away, a car crash. If you view each one separately, they're just random tragedies. But when you put them all together, this really disturbing pattern starts to emerge. And that feeling of it being just chance really begins to fade away. This brings us to the moment where all these so-called coincidences crash into each other. And it makes you wonder, who or what is the mastermind here? Seriously, think about the perfect, lethal timing of this moment. The dog runs out. At the exact moment, Daniel is right there to chase it. And then Daniel runs into the road at the exact same moment a speeding Jeep is passing by. That's three totally independent things aligning perfectly for one single fatal outcome. You have to ask, right? Who or what made the dog run out at that precise second? Who made that car speed by just then? Were these just free, random acts, or were they unbreakable links in a chain of events that was always going to happen exactly this way? It's wild. This whole story started with a winning lottery ticket, and it forces us to grapple with these huge questions about the nature of our lives. So, what's the takeaway from this collision of chance and fate? In the end, there isn't an easy answer. The story just leaves us with this final, lingering thought. It's not trying to tell us what to believe, it's asking us to think for ourselves. So, what do you take away from this? Do you see a universe filled with random accidents? Or do you get the sense that there's some kind of hidden pattern, an inevitability working behind all the chaos?